I really do believe that this idea that victims of sexual abuse have a responsibility to become survivors of sexual abuse is pernicious. It's giving the green light to paedophiles and rapists to do exactly as they please, because any child or woman worth her or his salt will overcome whatever has been done and become a survivor, and there will be a happy ending. It trivializes the crime, in my opinion. It also ignores the fact that surviving is not enough. You can be technically alive while feeling practically nothing. While having lost the capacity for joy, while believing that love does not exist. That was a belief I held throughout my teens, or pretty much throughout my teens, certainly my late teens. I thought there was no such thing as love, and never would be any such thing as love, that it happened in fiction only, and that sex was all there was. And that my only value was sexual. It didn't matter that I had failed the majority of my O-levels because of my father's crab lice. What mattered was that I had failed the majority of my O-levels, and the only value my parents had ever given me, apart from the sexual, was my intelligence. That left the sexual. So there I was, surviving. As I've also mentioned, in the daytime I would be behind closed curtains in darkness. My mother seemed to think I was doing that to make her miserable. In point of fact, I couldn't bear anyone to look at me. I have wondered many times why she didn't throw me out, why they didn't throw me out. And of course, my brother inadvertently gave me the answer just the other day. I said to him, when I didn't tell him my age, I was 16 at the time. My mother told me that I had driven my father and brother away. And I finally asked my brother if it was true. He said it was not. At least as far as he was concerned, and also as far as he was aware. My father had left when I was 7 in order to earn his living in London. He then went on to say that a parent's job was to raise a child to be independent and leave the nest. And all of a sudden, it struck me. Better the devil for company than none at all. I think my mother did regard me as the devil and not my father. Nonetheless, I was the only companion she had. I have said many times she did not see neighbours, she did not have friends. She did not go out except to do the shopping on a Saturday with my father. Well, she went into the back garden to do some gardening, and the front garden even to do some gardening, but that was it. Apart from that, as far as I remember and am aware, shopping on a Saturday with my father was all. I do remember one occasion, much later in her life, when she went to some firm's do with him and got a smart dress and was so excited. That's the only time I ever remember her going out socially, with or without my father. Oh, and then there were the evening classes right towards the end of her life. So I think what my mother was actually doing was keeping me there to be her companion. And I even kept a poem, it made me weep, in which she said, I did go out after dark once or twice a week to discos and dance myself stupid. Later, I also drank myself stupid at those discos, and picked up men. Any men. And she was presumably writing about those nights when she said that she waited alone night after night. It was not night after night. Definitely it was not night after night. Once, twice a week at the very, very most. And she commented that she would have no weight at Heaven's Gate. I'm sorry, but I beg to differ now. But when I read it, when she died, and I was 35, I felt guilty. I actually feel guilty as in some way my responsibility after I should have left the nest to keep her company. Well, I didn't marry her. Neither did my father until 1978. And between them, my parents had made absolutely certain that I was not fit to leave the nest. Just one more of the joys of being a survivor, i.e. technically alive. But it was purely technical. For 5 years, I refused point blank to cry. I don't know how I managed not to, because there are now times when I couldn't stop if I tried. But I very, very definitely believed that love did not exist, and it was purely something one read about in fiction. And I could go on, and I could take it pretty much through to the age I'm at now, although there has been love. I've already said that for the most part, apart from my children and my dogs, the people I loved were abusive people. All of them.